Hi, my name is Susan Lunt, and I'm a Water Resources Agent for Clemson Extension here in Pickens County. This video is going to show teachers how to utilize this kit for an erosion activity and also help lead discussion. In each kit, you will find everything you need with the exception of a pair of scissors, some water that I've put in a reusable water bottle, and just some pieces of recycled paper or trash ball bin. Inside the kit, you will find this gray bin. You'll use that to help with any excess spillage. 2 bottles full of water, 4 Ziploc bags, 2 which have soil in there, 1 with some grass seed, 1 with some red jello, powdered jello, and 2 clear containers. The lids are also in here. You'll probably not need those. We're now ready to set everything up for our activity. Teachers, you will need to do this about 2 to 3 weeks before you plan to do the activity in the classroom. Eventually what you want is your water bottle to have some growing grass in it, such as this. So what we will need to do is to take our 2 water bottles and put soil in one, soil and seed in the other. Now, I found through practice that emptying the water first and then trying to cut into this doesn't sort of give you enough resistance. So with water still in it and using my bin, I'm going to stab it with a pair of scissors. Probably water will gush out, so kind of watch yourself. It wasn't too bad. Once I put a hole in it, I'm going to, instead of wasting the water, I'm going to put it in my reusable water bottle so that I can then drink it. So again, you have already a hole in it, so there will be a little bit that spills out and a little bit of a mess. But now I have some water that's not wasted that I'll be able to drink and an empty water bottle. Where you punctured it, you're going to cut a small rectangle at the top. So I've removed about this much, you can see it well, and so I now have this space here that I can plant my soil in. I'm going to put the lid back on it. You want to save your lid. I'm going to empty completely the contents of one of my soil bags into this hole. So you can see why this gray bin is helpful, so that your mess goes in there, not all over your desk or your classroom. And so now you see I have my container about 2/3 of the way full of soil. Again, one of those I'm just going to set aside to use later. The other container, I'm going to do the same thing. I had one ready. I'm going to, again, if I didn't have this one ready, I would take my other water bottle, puncture the hole in it, use that water in my reusable water bottle to drink, cut out the rectangle, and empty the contents of the other soil bag into it. Again, it'll be about 2/3 full. I'm then going to take my bag of seeds. I'm going to sprinkle those over the top. And then you're just going to lightly spread those around, pushing them a little bit into the soil so that they're a little bit covered. Kind of stir those around a little bit. And then, since this will be, I can use some of the water that I just poured into here to lightly water it. You don't want to overly saturate it, but you do want it well watered. Now you're going to want to set this on a windowsill in your classroom, making sure to instruct the students not to bother it, or if you have an area outside so it can get some fresh air. In either case, it needs to get sunlight. So you're going to set it out, get sunlight, check it every day or so, make sure that it doesn't need more water. It'll take about a week and a half before you start seeing any sprouts, and after about 2.5 weeks, you will see some grass. I'm just going to set that there for the moment. After, I said, 2 to 3 weeks, you should have some healthy grass. Again, mine's gotten a little old, it's starting to turn brown a little bit, but you should have something that looks like this. So once you have your bottle with just soil and your bottle with grass, you'll be ready to do the activity with your class. Okay, now that your grass is grown, you are ready to do the activity with your students. You'll need to gather the supplies. You'll need the grade bin. You'll need your 2 clear containers, your bottle with just soil, and your bottle with soil and now grass. You'll also want to have some water on hand. I have mine in my reusable water bottle, and the packet of Jell-O. So you might want to lead off talking a little bit about some keywords such as erosion, watersheds, pollution. Your choice, whether you talk about it all, whether you just directly instruct your students, or if you choose to have some sort of leading questions and discovery. But basically, erosion is just sediment being transported by runoff, rain, natural causes that is carrying sediment and soil away. That sediment and soil travels by streams, lakes, into other greater waterways. Here we have large lakes like Lake Kiwi and Lake Hartwell that your students are probably familiar with. When erosion happens and that soil sediment is being carried, it is carrying other pollutants with it. Sediment itself is a pollutant because it cloudies the water, it limits the amount of sunlight that can get in, which impacts aquatic life such as fish and plants. Also, it can clog the gills of fish. That sediment can carry other pollutants like fertilizers, animal waste, oil, and grease also into these greater water bodies. So those again are some things you may want to mention to your students. So first what we're going to do is we're going to take our bottle of just soil. I'm going to remove the lid. You're going to want to have that clear container handy. So I'm going to set it down. You can set it inside the bin if you want, or outside. I'm going to pour some water directly into this. This label. And we should see that the water coming out is muddy because it doesn't have the benefit, see the soil muddy coming right out, of the roots of the plants holding it in place. So, the nice visual that, the lid back on, you can see in the container how muddy the water is. So I'm just going to set that back down. So now we're going to try it with pouring water over the bottle, that soil, and the grass. So we'll take the lid off. This as well. Pour water in here. And while there is some mud in the water, you can see it's definitely clearer than what it was with the other one. So the roots help prevent some of that erosion. So you can compare the two. This one's much dirtier, the one without the roots, than this one. There was some initial chunks of soil that were towards the mouth that came off. So always that first flush will get some of that out, but then you see the water is much clearer. You can continue the experiment by showing what would happen with contamination. So that's what the powdered Jell-O serves as. So if you were to sprinkle soil redistributed here, some of the Jell-O in each of these and do the same thing. Take the lids off, pour some water, and you'll see it's kind of hard to see in the video, but the water is definitely red that's coming out. In person, it's a little more dramatic. And when we do it with our one that has the grass growing, it is clear. Again, hard to tell on the video, but while it is red, it's not nearly as red as what we saw with just the soil. And lastly, you can take some of the pieces of litter contamination. I'm just going to do that with the soil one now, but if you stick it in your bottle up near the mouth, sort of clogging it, like litter can clog waterways, storm drains, and such. And what we see happen in cities is that those things, while they'll wash into the waterways, they'll also clog things up. Again, it might be hard to see in the video, but it slows down the water coming out, and that's where you get backup flooding. So again, easier in person than to see in my little video demonstration. So that's the activity portion. After you're done with classroom activity, you might want to have further discussion with your students about erosion and things that they can do. So you can recap the experiment, talking about what happened with the pure soil and what happened when there was landscape grass planted that helped hold on to the soil so that there was less erosion, less pollution. You can also talk about being a good earth steward, the things that you can do to help protect our environment. So you can offer some suggestions like watering your plants and things as needed, not just having them automatically on the sprinklers where there would be excess water. You can ask for their suggestions. Some other things, again, if you need to lead the discussion, is to talk about washing pets such as dogs, cars, boats, bikes, gardening equipment on grassy surfaces, which will absorb that water and slow it down so it's not directly running off into our waterways. You can talk about using bird feeders and such that would attract birds, that would also deter insects, making less pesticides necessary in people's gardens. Installing rain gardens, rain barrels, rain chains to help lessen the amount of water from roof runoff, and the list goes on. So I hope you enjoy this activity. Please contact me if you have any questions at slunt@clemson.edu. Thank you.